Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. It is good to be back. Yet once again, here we are live talking a little bit of wrestling. I honestly can't remember if we did one of these last week or if I just did a Tuesday video. But it's always fun to do the Tuesday live streams. I gotta get together with my buddy Jeremy and to see when me and Rock and Roll are going to be knocking out another live show. We have a really big Saturday night's main event coming up. This honestly, it might even be as big as a pay-per-view, honestly, in my mind. But we're going to start things off a little non-traditionally. We're not going to get right into Saturday night's main event. I honestly wanted to go old school. I'm talking about like old school, like 2010, 2011 YouTube. If I could, I would love to send up a video response to my good buddy, Assault and Battery 777. He has been on fire as of late. Um, I really thought earlier in the year he made a video for the Royal Rumble. He made a video about his day at the Elimination Chamber when it was in Toronto. And then he went dark. We didn't get any kind of WrestleMania videos from him this year, and no review of him watching the show. But honestly, as of late, Ravi's made like a video a week, and at one point, I think Ravi even put up videos on back-to-back days. Most of them are about WWE. Today's video, it was entitled TKO and The Rock Ruining WWE. And it talked a lot about him and it kind of like riding a roller coaster with wrestling, going up and down, like he falls in love with it and he gets into it, and then all of a sudden he just kind of like misses the show here or there. Next thing you know, he hasn't watched in a little bit. I completely understand with that. I mean, I have gone through this myself. For me, I've gone through periods of years not watching the product. I've talked a lot about, me growing up in my 20s, and I left a bowling alley to go home and watch Monday Night Raw at the bowling alley. I was hanging out with a couple of friends. There were some ladies there. Not like I had a shot in the dark there, but you never know. You shoot up a shot, you might hit something. But I went home, and the main event of WWE wasn't even a match. It was a debate between Triple H and Scott Steiner. Now, that was kind of like a dream match for me at the time, but I think I just had a come to Jesus meeting with myself. The fact that I was sitting home, this is the second week in a row. I believe the week before the Raw main event was a pose down between Steiner and Triple H, and I just found this completely stupid. And I don't think I watched the product for 2 years. I just went completely clean. Now, every once in a while, I still went to wrestlingheadlines.com. I looked at the Raw or SmackDown magazine while I was at work, waiting to use the time clock, waiting to clock in or something out like that. I knew kind of what was going on, but I just was completely out of it. Now, in my mind, I think of like Ravi as a really big wrestling fan. I know that he's, moving on to another station in his life since he got married. It was an honor to go to his wedding back in November. But there were a few points in his video, and we're going to start out with those, that he talked about how The Rock and WWE are ruining WWE. And a lot of it has to do with prices. Now, I I for one can point my finger to 2 weeks ago. Monday Night Raw was in my hometown. It was at the Golden One Center in Sacramento. Honestly, 15 minutes from my house finds me in the parking garage. Having like about a 10-minute walk over to the Golden One, walking right in. It would have been fun to go to Monday Night Raw. I mean, even if you're at a time period where you're not watching the product, continuously, it's fun to go to a wrestling show. I mean, the lights, the cameras, the fireworks, they make sure that you feel like you're seeing something. The drama that goes on into the ring. It'll pull you in to following in love with the product. But the fact that they wanted $300 to sit in 100 sections is just beyond the point of just out of control. Ravi brought up a good point in his video. WrestleMania 28, one of the high points of WWE in the 2010s, whatever you call that generation, was a dream match. The Rock against John Cena. It was only supposed to happen one time, but we sat eighth row. We bought a travel package, and I think the price on the tickets at $850. Now, I went to WrestleMania in Las Vegas, WrestleMania 41. I don't want to say that it was my last trip, but in case it was, I wanted to go to that WrestleMania because it was something that honestly I felt special about. The fact that it was John Cena's last run. And honestly, I think me going to that WrestleMania forced me to fall in love with wrestling yet once again because I didn't want to waste my money. I bought my ticket on a technicality. It said on the ticket, I understand I took the risk that it said that the seat had a limited view. I got very lucky that inside of the Allegiant Stadium, they didn't build any sort of surrounding the ring kind of deal. They didn't have a Hell in the Cell. They didn't have a steel cage. They didn't need to put a cover over the ring to run any of the lights or anything like that. But I had a very clear shot of the ring. I was honestly even with the stage just to the either the left or the right of it, however you look at it. I was basically sitting very close to where the wrestlers came out. The only thing that I couldn't see was when the guys were inside the tunnel to lead them out onto the stage. That kind of separated them from the fans that were sitting on the actual stage. So just seconds of an entrance, I wasn't able to see those seats after taxes and after fees were $1,400. And I think everybody who's had the chance has seen my WrestleMania 41 movie, and seen what I was able to see. I definitely was able to see the ring. The guys look small. I was able to see the action, but there was times when the action got tight or it got like near a finish, and I felt like I was watching the Tron as much as I was watching what was going on in the ring to make sure that I was able to see the story that they were telling. That was just beyond. I know it's awesome that WrestleMania is 2 nights, but at the same time, like I was paying for a hotel, roughly. Geez, I can't remember. I had the WrestleCon rate. I was paying less than $200 a night. I can't really remember exactly if it was 180. That's the number that I'm kind of like remembering in my mind, but somebody will probably call me out and say, "Hey, that wasn't what it was." But it's expensive, man. It's really expensive, but it was just one of those things that I wanted to touch one more time. But Ravi just talked a lot about how he feels that like everything that WWE is doing is kind of like running the same matches over and over with the same number of guys. He feels like he's not watching Raw, he's not watching SmackDown, he's only showing up for the pay-per-views. I can honestly tell you that since Netflix has come out, I don't think that I have missed a show. There was one show I didn't watch the entire show because my mom was in town, and I felt weird that like I was just gonna sit there and watch Raw with her in the house. And kind of ignore her and then bore her to tears. But like when she was cooking in the kitchen with my girlfriend, I was able to actually sneak away and see what was going on the show. But I know that for a long time, my excuse for not watching wrestling was that Raw was not shown live here in California. Comcast for the longest time had the live channel where you had the USA East Coast and West Coast feed, and then out of the blue, they just dropped it. It went away. This was a long time ago because I remember like they even dropped the TNA feed to watch the TNA show. I don't even remember what day that was, and I'm having a hard time remember what the TNA TV show was even called. But I remember I used to watch that with Jeff and Danny back in the day. We used to watch it live, and we watched it together because we were able to sort of make fun of the show and get through the whole thing. And that kind of killed it around the same time period. I'm not sure if that was during the Aces and Eights and AJ Styles deal, but you know, one of my biggest things was I wasn't able to watch it live. If you were on Twitter, you already knew what was going to happen, and it killed it. And plus, to start a wrestling show at 8 p.m. with me having to go to work at 4 a.m. Every Tuesday morning, that sucks. And I understand the people on the East Coast are, throwing tomatoes at me right now for crying about something that they deal with each and every week. But I've said this 1,000 times. I don't understand how you guys do it. I've lived here on the West Coast basically almost all my life, minus 6 years when I lived in Atlanta. But when I go back to my mom's house in Florida for like 2 weeks, I don't understand how you guys watch NBA, NFL. I don't see how you guys watch Major League Baseball. The games just start way too late. And I tip my hat to last night's World Series game. It ended, I believe, on the West Coast right before midnight. That means if you were on the East Coast, you were staying up till 3 a.m. in order to see that. But that's just crazy. Um, I don't know. I found that maybe I'm a little bit different because Ravi didn't take a break until now almost, but I feel like Raw is awesome as a TV show. I think it's because of Netflix getting to watch it live. I feel like each and every week, they have an awesome story. I was watching this week's, and when I found out the main event was going to be the Charlotte Alexa Bliss match against Bailey and Lyra, I was like, well, this isn't really a storyline that I'm in love with about Bailey, going crazy and inevitably she's going to turn on Lyra. We all know that she's going to snap. I'm not sure if they've dropped that storyline or if they're just really making you wait and want to see it. But that match was awesome. There was honestly a few good matches that were on Raw last night that were honestly really, really good. And the fact that they've narrowed it to 2.5 hours, they've kind of cut back on the superstars, and it almost seems like you're not getting. I apologize. You're not getting a lot of Otis. You're not getting a lot of guys that you don't care about. If you want to watch Otis, you want to watch Tozawa, you're gonna have to watch main event because that's gonna how you're gonna see it. Because I know that from watching Raw, from watching SmackDown, they're doing things a lot different, trying to make their superstars' careers probably easier and lasting longer by having them wrestle less. I can go back only a few years ago, and it felt like Seth Rollins wrestled on Monday Night Raw each and every week. And now, like those main guys, it's got to be a big show for them to wrestle on a non PLE or non Saturday night's main event. They're not giving anything away for free. Cody Rhodes is the exception to the rule. He's a guy that almost seems like he always wants to work, and he's going to work honestly as much as he can. But I find the matchups and the guys they got going right now awesome. And blue chippers waiting in the wings, the guys like Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, waiting for them to crash through and become their own guys and become main eventers in WWE. I find it really, really good to go along with. So I hope I made my point here. All I'm trying to say is that Ravi, um, I feel for you, and I really wish that you would love WWE because my dream is for us to go to a show yet once again someday. We were supposed to go to WrestleMania last year. Plans didn't really come together. This year, we kind of talked about it, but we never got the boat out of the harbor. Someday. I mean, I don't know. We joke around about just doing Click Bahamas and just going on a vacation together, no wrestling involved. But I don't know. To me, honestly, this friendship was made because of wrestling. I want to see it through and see one final show somehow, some way. Chippy D, I disagreed with the Ravi's video as well. WWE isn't as hot as it was a year ago, but I still take it over AEW any day. I don't really want to open the door to an AEW versus WWE rant. I know that Ravi loves AEW, but from watching his video today, unless I just didn't get that, it almost made me seem like he was saying WWE, but I almost felt like he was talking about wrestling as a whole. He kept on saying like Raw or SmackDown, but he wasn't saying Dynamite or Collision or whatever it is the show that they don't do anymore. But I don't know. I think that he follows AEW, but I would bet money that I don't think he watches it almost as often as he does. But now here I am putting words into his mouth, and he's making videos yet once again continuously. So hopefully he doesn't come out and bury me by spreading false rumors. But that's basically what I was getting at. Video response, TKO and The Rock ruining WWE. We can talk all day about The Rock ruining WWE. I am not a fan. I kind of hate myself at the same time. I kind of really want The Rock to be Cena's last opponent on that Saturday night's main event. I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm not going to put any money on the table. I'm just going to put that out there that if we got Rock and Cena yet one more time, I don't think there would be any complaints from anybody out there that Cena did not go out on top. And I'm not even going to say that Cena has to win that match. It would make a lot of sense for Cena to lose that match. And then hopefully The Rock could build off of that to going after Cody's soul, to do something with CM Punk, something with Roman Reigns. There's a few different ways that you could go out of that situation, but I'm not really sure, but boom, we're going to clip that. We're going to end it. And we're just going to move on to the next thing. Other big thing in the news today was that the WrestleMania 42 commercial came out. It featured Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Triple H, and Paul Heyman all sitting around a poker table and them placing bets on WrestleMania 42. Going back to Las Vegas, they're doubling down, as Triple H loved to say. It was the biggest and baddest show that they could do, and they got to go back and see if they can do it again. It's almost like they're betting double or nothing. Brock Lesnar being featured in the ad honestly really surprised me. Brock showed up at SummerSlam. Brock crushed John Cena at WrestlePalooza, and then minus going over the news of the WrestlePalooza show on the next Monday Night Raw, we haven't heard a peep out of him. And you would almost think that Paul Heyman, as often as he has a mic in his hand, would be giving a shout out to Brock Lesnar as much as he came down to the ring and he like portrayed his love for the man. I know that War Games is coming up. But in my mind, I think you got to keep Brock Bronson and Braun Breaker separate if you want those two guys to shine. They already broke loose from Seth Rollins and surpassed him as the leader of their own group. They kicked him out. They said they didn't need him. I understand that there was an injury. Maybe there's a story that we don't know. Maybe there was going to be a Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins showdown for leadership of this group. But you have now put Braun Breaker as the forefront of this group for this second time. The first time would be Seth Rollins' fake injury on the road to SummerSlam between the July Saturday night's main event. I don't think you could downshift and put this guy back into the thing. So I think it's way too early. In my mind, I really think that CM Punk is going to win the Royal Rumble. I think he is going to go to WrestleMania. I see Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk as the main event. Um, Main event of main events of WrestleMania 42. I don't think that they're going to do Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for like the 100th time at WrestleMania. Um, I don't see that being a match, and I think they've learned their lesson that they can't put Brock Lesnar up against a nobody. I apologize. I'm going to lump you in with this. The Dean Ambrose match at WrestleMania 32 was not good. The match against Omos at WrestleMania 39 was pretty much dreadful. He has to be in a match that almost means something. Um, I'm really not sure what they could do. Maybe do Brock Lesnar versus Braun Breaker, to sort of, put him into that main event slot, almost like the first time that Roman went to WrestleMania against Brock at WrestleMania 31. But the fact that Paul Heyman was in that room with him being a heel against Roman Reigns, a heel who has turned against CM Punk, and him just kind of watching what was going down with Triple H has a lot for me to wonder what the hell is going to be coming up in the foreseeable future. I think the road to WrestleMania is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be weird. I was already writing on my calendar to make sure that the Royal Rumble this year, it's going to be probably like a 10 a.m. start for that show. Um, Judging by watching WWE, the women are freaking awesome, but I think the men will be the main events of that show. So maybe, oh, breaking news, new edge wrestler for the San Francisco 49ers. I think they said White was the guy's last name. I'll have to look that up once I am done. Where did the text go? Oh, there we go. All right. I apologize. Boom. We're good. So, I think WrestleMania 42 is going to be awesome. It's just a matter of where they play their cards. I believe in these guys. It's going to be awesome. Now, here we are. We're 22 minutes in. We're actually going to start talking about what um, we are here for, and that is WWE Saturday night's main event. It is going to be the night after Halloween. It's going to be on Peacock. I'm putting out the warning for everybody out there in the world. WWE talked at length about WrestlePalooza being featured on the ESPN app, and there was people out there. I'm not pointing fingers. If you know who I'm talking about from watching the reviews, that thought there was ways around signing up for ESPN. They went and they tried to um, sign up for Disney Plus, thinking that they'd be able to watch it on there. They were thinking that they could just sign up for regular Hulu. And it was no, you had to get ESPN Plus to be able to watch this. You will not be able to turn on your basic TV, your cable TV, your freaking YouTube TV to NBC, to CNBC, to any NBCs. Oh, there's MSNBC. Any of those NBCs out there. This is not going to be on television. It is only going to be on the Peacock app. The same Peacock app that you used to watch WWE PLEs such as WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam for 4 or 5 years between 2021 and 2025. We are still doing the Peacock, even though everything else has moved over. The WWE reached a deal with NBC Universal for more money to give us 4 shows a year. We're getting one bonus one in this year of 2025. I think this was a way of Peacock and NBC making sure they didn't lose all of the WWE survivors. No, subscribers. What was I saying? I was thinking of Survivor. That's going to be tomorrow night on CBS. What if I made Survivor videos? But this honestly is a really good show. As of right now, we've got 4 matches to kick this thing off. All 4 of them, basically, are they? all four of them are championship matches. We have the two biggest belts, the World Heavyweight, the WWE. We have the Women's SmackDown belt, and we have the Intercontinental title. Four of the most respected titles out there. I really wonder if this is a handshake deal with Peacock, that they would give a Dynamite show. And I just want to get this out of the way. I don't have any news. I don't have any rumors. I don't have anything. This is just me sitting here in my bedroom at this desk. John Cena, he said that 2025 was going to be his last year in professional wrestling. He gave us the number of dates that he was going to be there. He told us what cities he was going to be at. But if you actually looked at it, he did every major WWE PLE minus WWE Evolution, which was a women's show. He did every Saturday night's main event. He had the match against R-Truth, you can remember back in the day. I really wonder if John Cena is going to show up at this Saturday night's main event to show us the direction of what he's going to do at Survivor Series. If it's what people say, if the rumors are true, maybe he shows up at the end of the Dominic match and actually challenges Dominic to a match face to face on this show. Maybe it's telling us what he's going to be doing for the Monday Night Raws. We have a show in Boston. We have a show in the Madison Square Garden, or just to hype up what the next Saturday night's main event is going to be. That one's going to be in Washington, D.C. Maybe we get some sort of lead on who is going to be the final opponent, what these last four shows are going to be about. I don't want it to be on tape. I think it would be awesome if it was in person. The show being in Salt Lake City, with it being out of the Delta Center. I think Salt Lake City is a really easy city to get into and get out of. It is a major hub for Delta. There could be easy, almost direct flights to the show, out of the show as soon as this stuff is done. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I honestly think it would be really cool if it did happen. The pictures of him with Blake at the NXT Performance Center kind of shows you, I don't think he was there training. I think that was him like actually showing his love of wrestling, being in town and wanting to check out what is going on. Maybe there's wrestlers that he's seeing in NXT. I know this guy watches wrestling because he loves wrestling. He's probably a lot like The Rock, how he wishes he could do it, but he knows his body is breaking down. He's older than he was. And plus, there's just so much money in Hollywood that he wants to find the next act of his career. And he can't miss out on the next, major movie role that's going to be out there. So John Cena, Saturday night's main event, who knows? But I think it should happen. When we look at this show, we've got 4 big matches. We've got Dominic Mysterio versus Penta versus Rusev. That's going to be a 3-way for the Intercontinental Championship. That one was set up on Monday Night Raw. We had a number 1 contenders match between Penta and Rusev. That match was basically broke up by the El Grande Americano crew. And then Adam Pearce, who had been sniffing out the fact that the Judgment Day is a bunch of cheaters. It doesn't matter if it's Dominic Mysterio. It doesn't matter if it's Finn Balor. That, they might get a referee's decision. But Adam Pearce, who makes these so-called rankings, for who moves up into championship shots and stuff like that, they're not winning anything there. Adam Pearce basically thought that Dominic got El Grande Americano involved to get Penta and Rusev to start looking at the El Grande crew and thinking that they're going to team up to going after there. That's the way it felt to me. They were really looking at him like they were about to go, and Rusev could have attacked Penta in the back, didn't do it. I think this is a tag team match that we're going to see in the future. It's really going to show what is going on with the El Grande Americano crew. Is this a real team? Part of me was wondering if they were just finding a way to get 5 El Grande Americanos to Survivor Series to have some sort of a, do you remember the 4 Doinks match at Survivor Series? I'm going to throw out 93, but I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully, you know about the 4 Doinks with the Men on a Mission and the Bushwhackers. But I look at this match. I think that Dom's got to find a way to get this done. And with the ongoing feud with Adam Pearce, I'm not surprised if El Grande Americano isn't involved in this match at all. Maybe we actually find Adam Pearce coming down to ringside, getting involved somehow to help keep the El Grande Americanos out of there. But some sort of interference, disqualification, making somebody look the other way. Dom's going to roll somebody up. And I wouldn't be surprised if he even uses that favorite weapon of the ring hammer to get involved. Penta and Rusev, they both have rights to the Intercontinental Championship. I just don't think at this time that Dom is ready to drop that belt. And I'm not a big follower of what is going on in AAA. I did watch the World Tours show before Money in the Bank. I haven't seen anything since. But I don't think that Dom's ready to lose that mega title for AAA anytime soon. So that's why I'm going to just keep sticking with Dominic, the double champion. We haven't even really seen anything with the Judgment Day, and we got to be knowing that Liv Morgan's return is coming up around the corner. Are they going to pull anything with Roxanne, or did they just completely drop the Roxanne Dom Liv storyline because of her injury? And they just never went on and pulled the trigger, because as of right now, the women of the Judgment Day haven't even really gotten involved in that championship picture for those tag titles to come back. And I thought that was going to be a major storyline, pinning Raquel now against Roxanne and Liv over who she wants to be partners with. Does she want to, turn on Roxanne and lose her title somehow? Does she want to keep her title to the point where she will shun Liv Morgan as a what have you done for me lately kind of thing? We've heard a lot about I'm going to tell Liv, or Liv getting involved in Judgment Day rumors, but we haven't seen her. We haven't heard her. You can't see any decisions that have been made because of Liv Morgan. Everything is always a scare tactic of I'm going to tell her or she's going to find out. Tiffany Stratton is going to be putting on her WWE Championship title into a match against Jade Cargill. These two last got involved in a match at SummerSlam. Since then, we had Julia. Shoot, I forgot her name. What is Julia's manager's name? I don't remember. She's the one who got the title shot against Tiffany. And when it became a 2-on-1 ordeal, Jade Cargill came down and even the odds, only for her to do like a big sister, little sister kind of thing, where I'm not going to let you beat up my sister. I'm the only one that can beat up my sister. So I'm the one who's going to beat her up. Basically, tossed her out of the way and then went after Tiffany Stratton. I can go back to SummerSlam. I can pull up my SummerSlam predictions. I picked Jade Cargill to win that match. I think it's time. I think it's time to finally crown Jade Cargill as a major player in WWE, even if she isn't the one having the best matches, even if she's not even the most over one. I think the WWE, in one of those weird situations where they aren't going to admit that they were wrong, I think they're just going to push Jade Cargill along. I think she's going to win the championship from Tiffany Stratton. And then once she has it, it's going to be sink or swim. We're going to find out. As long as she has that title, they're either going to figure out that it works, or that's the time that the title comes off for fast, that you really see what people were thinking is the fact that Jade's just going to get pushed to the back of the women's division. You stole a big one. You stole one of the awesome big names from AEW where they were pushing her, but they weren't pushing her to the limit. And you got her first. She came to you because she thought that you could make her a bigger star. We're gonna have to honestly see if they can really do it. Tiffany, she's only lost one match. That was against Stephanie Vakir at WrestlePalooza. That was one of the big storylines that they were telling during that match. After she loses that championship, I think that the storyline for Tiffany is going to be: has she lost it? Has WWE kind of figured her out? What's going on inside of her head? And it's going to be the comeback story of Tiffany working her way towards getting that title back. But then again, you got to look at what time of the year it is. We've got January coming right around the corner, the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble. You got to be thinking that if Liv Morgan is going to be in it, is she an early favorite, or do you just pick like a Rhea Ripley? You always got to think about how big of a year Io Sky has had, and they haven't been in there. But Tiffany Stratton easily could be somebody like in the top 5 women to win the Royal Rumble to go to WrestleMania. She really surprised me last year with the win over Charlotte. She could do it again. I think that's going to be a really, really big match. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. I put this one honestly in the number 3 hole. Honestly, because of the fact Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre, they just had a match at WrestlePalooza. That match, the whole storyline was Drew McIntyre delivered a Claymore kick to Cody Rhodes, kind of knocked him out. It was his storyline reason for leaving and going over to make the Street Fighter movie. Once they had the match, if I remember right, I think the storyline was on Cody's return, he beat up Drew to lead to the WrestlePalooza match. And when you watched it, Drew McIntyre didn't seem like he was 100% with it. He actually looked like he had the Claymore kick locked in, and if he hit it, he would have won. But he kind of collapsed before he was able to hit it, and that's how Cody got his win. Some people said that Drew's storyline for that match couldn't be said. They were making it seem as if Drew McIntyre had suffered a concussion, not in real life, but in the storyline to the match. But because of, just rules and laws and, the way people cover wrestling, they weren't able to actually say that. I don't think it was so much because of the concussion lawsuits. I think those have actually finally ended. And that's why you've seen Demolition get their did they get a Legends deal? Is that what it is? Yeah, they got a Legends deal because so many people thought they were going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. They got to get inducted. Get Demolition in the freaking Hall of Fame. But, on the road to this Saturday night's main event match, right before Crown Jewel, Jacob Fatu found Cody Rhodes in the back. And Jacob Fatu told Cody Rhodes that after Crown Jewel, win, lose, or draw, he was going to be coming for Cody Rhodes in that WWE Championship. He wanted to, be in that main event picture. That is kind of what set up the Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu feud, which led to them having that number 1 contenders match on SmackDown. But Jacob Fatu was taken out. It hasn't been said if Drew McIntyre is the one who did it. If you watch the lead-ins to did that a few times, you saw Cody Rhodes or Jacob Fatu in the back, interacting with other wrestlers, and Drew McIntyre would be in the back of the scene, all the way in the back of the arena. I don't know if that was their way of saying that he is the one that was taking out Jacob Fatu, but that whole deal was weird. Drew made the promo. He posted it on What's Up, Smoking Dog. We had Drew post the video to all of his social medias, basically saying the match with him and Jacob Fatu was going to happen. I don't know if that was kind of like a smoke and mirror because the rumor was out there that Jacob Fatu is hurt. People at the time were saying that Jacob Fatu was going to be out for up to a year. And then basically Jacob Fatu was found laid out in the back. I don't know if there was a plan. Part of me wonders, with this being a rematch and really a rematch that nobody's really talking about. That's just the crazy thing. Is I wonder if Jacob didn't get injured, would have been in this title match, just to have Cody versus Jacob be a big match on this Saturday night's main event. Cody versus Drew just doesn't seem fresh. It doesn't seem like the thing. And now I feel bad because earlier I talked about, Ravi making the video saying that all the matches in WWE were stale. This match is kind of stale. Don't tell him I said that. He ain't watching. It's 40 minutes in. He only watches me when he's going to the bathroom. I don't think he's going to be sitting on the toilet that long. But yeah, I really wonder about that. When it really comes down to it, I thought at WrestlePalooza, I thought with it being the first ESPN show for WWE's champion to lose, I thought would have been a mega story leading into SmackDown. Cody Rhodes, how big of a star he is, how he's fallen. I thought that would have crossed over for a lot of people to think like, oh, shoot, Cody lost. But they didn't do that. At this show, I don't think Drew has a shot to win this match, honestly, at all. I think that Cody's going to win this, hands down. I think that's just the way that it's going to happen. I only got a few minutes here. I just got a text that my daughter needs to get picked up, so we're just gonna roll right in to the main event. We normally end this with like a small Q&A. If while I'm going, if you're in here, leave any kind of question you want to answer over into the comments. And then right before I leave, I'll do the little Q&A. I don't care how many questions are in there. I'm going to knock it out. But here is your World Heavyweight Championship, your main event of Monday Night Raw that is going to go down on Saturday night's main event. CM Punk versus Jey Uso. Jey Uso is a replacement for Seth Rollins, who is supposed to defend his World Heavyweight Championship. In this match, CM Punk won his number one contendership by beating LA Knight and Jey Uso in a three-way on Monday Night Raw. And then after that, it was told to us that Seth Rollins was injured. Storyline-wise, it was by Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. The Spears and the Tsunami. It actually was his shoulder in the match against Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel over there in Australia. No word on what Rollins is doing. No word on how long he's going to be out. I don't think we're going to be getting a Seth Rollins return, much like SummerSlam, where he comes up out of the ashes and boom, he's back. I know from watching Seth Rollins, from being a fan of Seth Rollins is going to come back as fast as possible. We all saw it, everything that he did to make a return at WrestleMania 40 to be in both, well, not really both, but to be on both nights of WrestleMania. That's the best way to say it. He was the main event of night one. Him and Cody teamed against The Rock and Roman, and that was a big match, but that led to him, because he already came in injured, being more injured, rolling into night two. I believe he was the leadoff match against Drew McIntyre. Drew won the World Heavyweight Championship. Then, because of the fact he was showing off in front of CM Punk, Punk beat him up, and then Damian Priest came down and cashed in his Money in the Bank for Drew McIntyre to hold that belt for literally minutes. But I don't know. This match, something big is going to happen. I listened to the Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer, and Brian Alvarez this morning. They said because of the fact that it looked so obvious that Jey Uso was going to turn heel. The only one in WWE that hadn't really put it out there that he had that to him was CM Punk. They were kind of leading to the fact that CM Punk was going to turn heel. I don't think we're anywhere close to that time. AEW pulled the trigger on turning CM Punk heel, honestly, because of the fact he had the comeback, and then we had Brawl Out, and they sent him home. I think they brought him back as a way to get him back into the program, not really have to talk about what happened at Brawl Out, and just go off to the races. And then we got heel Punk, which led to him wrestling until his release when he got in the fight with Jake Perry backstage at the All Out show the next year over in London. And I still remember reading the headlines the morning that Punk actually got released and just being like, man, I understand AEW did what they had to do, but that's beyond crazy. I don't know what Jey Uso is going to do. I really feel like he's going to turn heel. I don't know if that's just beating CM Punk by cheating, by helping, his brother helping in the match. I feel like it's going to be more like him injuring Punk with some sort of a weapon. If he was to do that, he could fall back on the fact that he's not a heel. He's just doing what he had to do to get the job done. Everybody wants to be world heavyweight champion. Everybody would have done what he had to do. But I think that's when you would have seen his actions actually used against him. When you're stacking the deck, you're talking about the fact that he eliminated his brother from the Battle Royal. He took out CM Punk with a wrench, a chair. Maybe he used the ropes to get a pin, something like that. But I think everything is going to be different. You got to be thinking about Roman Reigns, after that. And one of the big things that I'm thinking about is what the hell they're going to do at War Games. How does this match build into that? Because the last time we talked about War Games on here, I drew up, I thought the teams were going to be LA Knight, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and John Cena teaming against Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Brock Lesnar, and I threw out a hallelujah to the fact that Jey Uso would turn heel. Now it actually looks like it might do it. I actually crossed out Drew McIntyre to put Jey Uso on the team. But now, because of the fact that Seth Rollins is injured, we're going to have to cross out Rollins. There's been lots of rumors about Austin Theory joining the Vision. The Vision with Austin Theory makes no sense to me today, as it did no sense the day that it first crossed my wrestling headlines rumor page. The WWE Dream Team of LA Knight, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and John Cena still makes sense. Lots of rumors about John Cena wrestling in a singles match against Dominic Mysterio. So if you take him out of that match, do you put Jimmy Uso? He honestly seems like the biggest name in WWE not on this. Do you see Jimmy Uso in War Games as a part of this deal? CM Punk and Roman Reigns are rumored to be the leaders of this team, to be like the team captains, I guess you can say, if you go back to the old days of the Survivor Series when you had teams like Macho Man and Hulk Hogan going up against, I already forgot, Andre the Giant, and I'm not sure. I know one of them was Zeus and the $1 Million Man against Brutus Barber Beefcake and Hulk Hogan. They were the team captains there. And then I think they changed it from 5-man team to 4-man team because the roster had gotten smaller. So then they just went with one captain on each team. But that's one way that honestly could make sense. There would be lots of tension between Punk and Reigns, so I don't know how they come together. Basically, maybe it's an open challenge from Paul Heyman and the Vision, and Punk and Roman both have storylines going back to WrestleMania 41 that haven't been resolved. that they both come out and then they find out that they have to work well together. LA Knight would be an easy guy. He seems like he wants to get down to action. Cody Rhodes would love to be in any big match that he could. So if that WWE Championship's not going to be on the line at Survivor Series, I look at him being in there. But Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed have to be there, unless they're going to do the Wyatt Six against the My Family Tree in the MFTs. The numbers match up. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't think that's what I want to happen. But like I said earlier, Brock joining the team of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker is going to overshadow them. I don't really love that. So we're gonna have to see with Jey Uso if this heel turn really comes, if he embraces it, much like he did with the CM Punk promo. And we're really off to the races. I got to get going. I got to pick up Jack and Audrey from school. Their FFA meeting ended. So I will see you guys the next time we do this. I have not texted Jeremy, but I will send him a text. Make sure you go subscribe to the Rock and Noel channel. This is the reason why I learned how to start doing these live streams. I really appreciate coming in here. The Bearded Jedi, Chippy D, Smoking Dog. Shout out to you guys. I couldn't do it without y'all. Let's do some wrestling, man. Saturday night's main event. It's going to be coming up real fast. Make sure you subscribe on Peacock, and I'll see you guys down the road.